Howdy folks, and welcome to the Bovington Tank Museum for Tankfest 2015 with the mighty Jingles, although I didn't actually get that much video of the tanks this year, for reasons which are going to become obvious slightly later on in the video. With Wargaming being the major sponsor of Tankfest this year, they invited a whole bunch of their community contributors, including myself, down to the Tank Museum the day before Tankfest officially started. We pretty much had the run of the whole museum to ourselves, including the Vehicle Conservation Centre, which is only open to the public a couple of days of the year, Tankfest being one of them. One of Wargaming's community contributors in particular got very excited at finally being able to meet the tank of her dreams in person. That way, Lisa. Yeah, Rita's a big fan of the M3. I always knew there was something wrong with it. Of course, Rita Gamer and I weren't the only two Wargaming community contributors who turned up to the Tank Museum on Friday. There was also Highflyer15, who's Danish but came all the way from Sweden, with Mrs. Highflyer15, who is actually Swedish. Quickie Baby, Ike, and Peppy Pepper.
Hey, no. This is Pepper Ross. I'm gonna get you, Jingles. I'm gonna get you.
Hi. We are at Tankfest. We are enjoying it. We are not very good interview subjects.
Ike, don't ever change. Speaking of Rita Gamer, it turns out she's a bit of a fickle mistress. She has eyes for more than one tank. She got very excited when she saw the tortoise in the Vehicle Conservation Centre. Oh, Rita, at least buy it dinner first.
It's really nice.
So, Rita, are you happy?
Yes. Very happy. Yes.
But I did get some payback, because I managed to get Rita to stand next to the Panzer II Lux, and everybody agreed that the Lux was far cuter, and just as tiny. There are, of course, some people out there, strange people, who think that the M24 Chaffee is a cuter tank than the Panzer II Lux, and I say to those people, pish and tosh. Look at that, it's a shameless hussy, that's all, standing there with its differential steering on display for all to see. This tank has no shame whatsoever. Cover yourself up, Chaffee, you shameless hussy, there are children watching. Speaking of very attractive tanks, back in the Vehicle Conservation Centre, parked in front of the M41 Walker Bulldog, was a bit of a mystery. My apologies to France, I actually hadn't figured out what this was until I got around the front. From the rear it looks a bit like a Leopard, and then you see the back of the turret and you think actually that looks more like an M103. It's not until I came around the front and actually caught the French badge on the front of this tank that I realised it is actually an AMX-30. It's the first time I've ever seen one. The Tank Museum's Vehicle Conservation Centre is a real treasure trove of armoured vehicles. You've got the regulars like the T-54s, 55s, 62s, the Chieftains, the Challengers. Then you've got some of the more rare examples, like for example the FV4202, which is sadly very broken. The gun just kind of hangs out of the turret. But then you've got the things that you just have no idea what the heck they are, and in this case I actually had to call the museum curator, Mr. David Willey, over to explain what the heck this was. You can see there's been a metal plate attached to the front of this thing with holes drilled in to bolt that plate onto the front of the chassis. Perched on top of the tank is a 120mm gun barrel. Not a gun, just a gun barrel, and at the back of the gun barrel you can see where it attached to that spot on the front of the chassis where it gets bolted on. This is what the museum call a Jag Chieftain. That's right, it's a mock-up of a tank destroyer using the Chieftain hull. And just in case anybody from Wargaming is watching this video and thinking, ooh, potential new Tier 10 British tank destroyer for World of Tanks, at the front of this thing is a 10mm thick sheet steel plate. It's just there so they can attach the mock-up gun barrel. Just making sure we're absolutely clear on that before anybody from Wargaming starts taking any measurements of the thing. Meanwhile, yet another tank has caught Rita's eye.
What? It's the baby one. Look how beautiful.
For God's sake, Rita, just pick a tank and get a room. Anyway, that was the Wargaming Community Contributor Day 1 at Tankfest on the Friday, the day before Tankfest officially started. The next day, Saturday, the first actual day of Tankfest, I turned up, handed over my ticket, walked inside, and things took an entirely unexpected turn. I literally took 10 steps inside the museum, somebody shouted jingles, and then a queue started forming. It was absolutely crazy. It was just unbelievable. I was there for 2.5 hours just shaking hands, signing autographs, getting my picture taken. The museum staff eventually turned up and started erecting crash barriers just to take care of crowd control. After 2.5 hours, I hadn't even had breakfast that morning. We'd come straight from the hotel. The museum staff whisked me away to a little private museum staff restroom where I could hide for an hour just to get a drink of water. And then at 3 o'clock they wheeled me right back out again. And we did it all over again for the next 2 hours. That is as much as I saw of Tankfest on the first day, the Saturday, of Tankfest 2015 this year. It was absolutely incredible. Got nobody to blame for it but myself, of course. I did tell everybody I'm going to be at Tankfest. I'll be wearing an American Tanker's uniform, and please come up to me, shake my hand, get your picture taken. I'll sign autographs. I said I'd do it, so that is exactly what I did all day on Saturday. Of course, it meant I didn't get any filming done, so I had to take pretty drastic steps in order to ensure that I actually had a video to give you on the second day of Tankfest. I shaved my beard off so I could go in disguise, and it sort of worked, at least until I got to the Wargaming stand, and Hector, Wargaming's community manager, shouted out, "Jingles! Jingles!" in front of 400 World of Tanks fans. So it didn't quite go according to plan, but it was an absolutely incredible experience, and one that I was in no way prepared for. Well, with my cover blown by Wargaming, I didn't manage to get around completely undetected on Sunday, so I didn't actually get that much video footage of the tanks at Tankfest this year, but I did manage to get some pretty good shots of the British Army armoured vehicle display, and that's what we've got coming up for you next.
But this is in fact a Silica 2. This vehicle we saw its Part 1 version earlier in the CVRT display. Especially low blood pressure. The Silica 2 variant display is an upgrade on the earlier vehicle, and it was developed specifically for Afghanistan. Now this was done by placing the turret of the Silica 1 on the hull of the Spartan personnel carrier, which comes, as you know, from the same family of vehicle, and it remains armed with the 30mm Ron cannon and the coaxial 7.62mm machine gun. Ladies and gentlemen, the Silica 2. Ladies and gentlemen, you can hear the familiar roar. It is the Challenger 2 GES making entrance. This main battle tank is 65 tons. It's one of the most formidable tanks in the world. Outstanding protection and the ability to travel at speed in excess of 45 km across almost any terrain. Challenger 2 smashed it from language height. With its 120mm main armor. After a 1-5 meters. Its main armament gives it the power to hit an enemy. First time, every time. The Challenger 2. Ladies and gentlemen, the Challenger 2.
Today's Challenger 2 is another ATDU vehicle. However, it's crewed by Corporal Boy from ATDU. The rest of the crew is made up from members of the Royal Artillery. Driver is Staff Sergeant Jones, with Trooper Davison in the gunner's seat, and Trooper Shearing, operator and loader, next to the commander.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next vehicle coming in at some speed is the Warrior 510. It is the primary vehicle used by the armored infantry. It's armed with another into the enemy in conjunction with Challenger 2 to allow the 8-man infantry section carried in the back to destroy hostile and objectives. The vehicle on display carries the latest modifications developed for operations in Afghanistan. Ladies and gentlemen, the Warrior 510 infantry fighting vehicle. Speed, but an equally formidable vehicle is the Mastiff. This vehicle capable of 57 miles per hour, powered by a single turbo diesel. Firepower, it's got an overhead weapon sight of a 7.62mm DPMG or 1.7mm HNG. It's highly protected. It's got larger axles and upgraded suspension, and this one has opening front doors. It has a crew of 2, but can carry 8 men in the back. It can be adjusted to a variety of roles, to carry EOD equipment, stores, or whatever is required. It was developed from the Americans for Afghanistan. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mastiff. It may look very odd to you, but it's the first of the range of Royal Engineer vehicle newly developed. This one is the Treasure. This is the with an excavator, but also can be fitted with a front-end You can see on its back the mini facade. This can be used to drop with great speed in order to make it easier for vehicles to cross ditches and small water obstacles. This vehicle, as the armoured vehicle Royal Engineers, is also tows when it has to the Python mine clearance sister. Ladies and gentlemen, the Trojan was used extensively and successfully in Afghanistan in the clearance of IEDs and legacy minefields. It survived several times an IED strike with no casualties. Provides the sole bridge to combat operations. Crewed by 3 personnel, it carries the launches either another tank, another stand bridge, or another drive. Time can lay a breeze in 22 minutes. And the 13.5 meter bridge in 90 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, Titan. Ladies and gentlemen, the final Royal Engineer vehicle we see coming in now is one of the latest vehicles in the lineup in the British Army. It is Terrier. It is a highly mobile, robust and reliable earth-moving armoured fighting vehicle which will provide mobility, counter-mobility and survivability engineering support throughout the Terrier is capable of operating all-in-swing flying, supported by a top state-of-the-art environmental control system. Terrier is the most advanced land vehicle currently in service with the British Army. A typical armoured engineer regiment has 6 Terriers. Ladies and gentlemen, the Terrier. The lead cavalry battle group of the lead armoured task force is safely ashore and is commencing its breakout from the beachhead. Mustang 1-0, this is Tiger 3-2, sighting as right now. Correct, Terrier Yankee 832. 881. 1 times a PRDM2, 3 times a dismount, a static next to pocket. Set to be combat outpost. The outpost dominates the main supply route south of my position. Over. Mustang 1-0, Roger.
What's that?
The sighting report from 3 commandos has been passed on. The lead squadron has been tasked to conduct raids on identified enemy outposts that may delay the lead armoured task force advance north. An operation, usually small scale, involving a swift penetration of hostile territory to secure information, confuse the enemy, or destroy his installations. It ends with a planned withdrawal upon completion of the assigned mission. You will now hear the squad leader issue orders to one of his troops. A troop of CR2, Challenger 2, has been attached to the lead cavalry battle group. A Challenger 2 has been tasked to provide overwatch from 3 kilometers out and protect the raiding armoured cavalry troop from a potential armoured counterattack.
I don't think it was so bad. My company doesn't want them. A lot of people. Yeah, I think so. Definitely had an impact. Question was coming as well. Yeah, but he had people replaced with those.
Support troop jackals from the light cavalry squadron in the lead cavalry battle group mark the forming up point, or FUP, for the armoured cavalry squadron. The armoured cavalry troop provide fire support, and here they come, ladies and gentlemen. Note that the assault group will be at 90 degrees to allow for intimate fire support as they come in onto the objective. Here come the support troops from the west, being fired in from the north. Is seeking Mark 4. It'll be out of service within a year.
So next year we'll see the other camper phone?
The Merlin was in service when I joined up. Yeah, they're both running at the same time. So that was Tankfest 2015, or at least as much of it as I got to see. I do encourage you to go out there on YouTube and have a look for other Tankfest videos, because there was so little that I actually got to see of Tankfest because I was busy meeting you guys. And I'll tell you what, after you've shaken hands with people around about 1,000 times, your hand really starts to hurt. Which is something I wasn't aware of. Also, after you've signed your name a couple of 100 times, you start to forget how to spell it, which makes for some very, very interesting and potentially valuable autographs. So there you go. So that's it from me for Tankfest this year. I'm just sorry I wasn't actually able to show you more footage of the vehicles strutting their stuff in the arena. There was a hell of a lot more to see than what you've seen in this video, and I do encourage you to go out there and check out some other Tankfest videos other than my own. I will of course be talking more about Tankfest in next week's Mingles with Jingles. In fact, I have some very interesting news about Tankfest in 2017 after speaking to the museum director. So more on that in next week's Mingles with Jingles. As always, folks, take care. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you next time.